Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is D with the Messy Bitch podcast. Now, I have come in with a little bit over the past couple of days. It has been freezing cold, so I do apologize. I have not been in the studio. I almost didn't make it out of the freezing cold. However, I was able to find a warm space to stay for that evening. So we'll go ahead and move forward with what we've got for you guys today. Now, I've actually been asking myself a couple questions lately. I've had a couple conversations with a couple different religious leaders, as well as I have been trying to figure out like how I could use the questions I'm asking myself to move myself forward. And that would probably be the biggest challenge I have going on as of current. Now, I've been asking myself a couple questions. I have reverbing on those questions, but it seems like within today and yesterday, the questions that I had been asking myself over the past several months have changed. Now, it started with a couple questions as to why I engage in certain things, why I watch, why what it is I'm missing, or trying to get the clarity amidst the confusion that I was facing, which it was for so long I was doubting myself and kind of asking the questions of, am I crazy for thinking, or am I crazy for trying to be myself in a world that is constantly trying to make you into something that they want you to be, or a world that's constantly putting expectations on you as an individual? Well, here's the thing. I have gone through and I have found out that that is one thing to pay attention to, especially when it comes to life in general. I know it's a little bit hard to understand what exactly I'm trying to convey to everyone. However, it's a thing and kind of like the self and matter that you might have questions for yourself, and those questions might help you move forward in what it is you want to do or you're trying to do or whatever you're passionate about. Now, I have come to become sort of a philosopher. However, I did not go to school for philosophy. I have definitely moved forward to ask more questions of myself from the original questions. So I'll go over probably about a couple of these questions just to kind of give you an idea of where my mind is at, and uh, not to make anybody question themselves. However, it's kind of like, if I'm asking myself these questions, you must be asking yourself these questions at some point in your life as well, because you might be at a point where you're trying to move forward and you're having a little bit of trouble doing so, or you've finally gotten to the point where you've let everything go and you're moving forward as you should in the direction that you want to go, right? So I was asking myself, why can't I move forward? Uh, am I looking for someone else to take the blame for my past and what it is exactly I went through, what it is I'm dealing with personally, and why it's affected me so heavily? As well as, am I taking accountability in the right ways? These are some of the questions I've been asking myself for months. And I finally got answers to those questions because I started changing the way I operate and the way I move. And I started focusing strictly on myself and what it is I am bringing to the world, as well as the message I want to send out. Now, again, I am a lot more focused now that I have released everything, kind of like came out with everything that people need to know about me, especially like doing it on YouTube, which is a very different feeling because I never expected to have to do it this way. But I won't say that it has been the worst experience. It has definitely been an eye opening and a movement experience. Um, so I was also kind of questioning my overthinking and why I'm thinking about so much, because it's like I'm pondering over things that happen that I can't control. I am making choices now to shift my focus from what I can't control to what I can control. and those things are going to get harder as time continues. However, I just need to make sure to pay attention to what I am doing to make those moves happen for myself, right? Uh, yeah. Uh, this is just a couple of the questions I used to ask myself, and I honestly have moved past these questions with the answers that I needed. And my answers are not going to be the same as your answers. I'm just kind of going over this stuff as time goes on and trying to, you know, communicate with you guys my thought pattern and how I'm thinking as of currently, because my thought pattern has actually shifted within the past couple of days when I've come to terms with myself and where I'm at on my journey, what I'm trying to accomplish, how I'm going to get there, and what I'm doing to move forward. I mean, all of those have been ways that I have figured out how to, move forward and the answers to these questions that I'm asking myself. Now, I am asking myself new questions, which, I mean, are still a little bit confusing, but that also means I'm not stuck anymore. And I think that's where I want to be is I'm no longer stuck on what happened and I couldn't control or what it was that I needed to do to move forward. And to be completely honest, I'm still focused on myself. And I know that it's worth it for me to continue focusing on myself and the signals that I'm putting out, even if some people may not like it. You know, I'm moving forward in my own way. I'm not asking anybody for approval. I'm not asking anybody for handouts. Um, I'm kind of just doing what I have to do in order to make it there. Now, I will not say I'm not completely asking for handouts. Again, I am in a situation to where I'm kind of homeless at the moment. I am moving forward, getting what I can, and if I can't get something, I just kind of walk out on it and leave it there. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. To be completely honest, I have gotten a couple of handouts within the past couple of months, especially when it comes to uh, my herbal medicinal habits. However, I'm also not going to say that I've been relying on those. I have been actively applying to work. There have been some barriers put in place, as well as a couple of messy resumes that I need to clean up before I could possibly get a job in the career field that I want, as well as a portfolio that I am working on when it comes to my fashion and design. I do constantly make things and design things as I'm going on this route, and I'm still actively doing some origami pieces. I am actually working on the last of a very large amount of kusudamas that I've made based off of a video that I saw on Instagram. Uh, and then I'm moving forward to see what else I can make because, again, I kind of getting bored with the one thing. So, some questions that I have been asking myself within the past 24 to 48 hours after the mindset shift, after a good night's rest, which I desperately needed. You know, uh, why do I try to live up to the expectations that other people put on me? Um, and I've always wondered why people expect so much. You know, I probably won't get an answer to that question because that would require somebody else to answer the question in regards to myself. However, these expectations I that I am trying to live on, I guess it was always me just trying to get approval from the people I looked up to, whether it had been family, friends that I saw were doing better than me and that I wanted to not be exactly like, but to get to that level, trying to reach for something that I'd never had before, which in all honesty, I've failed on multiple occasions trying to get to that point. And I still have not figured out what it is that I truly want at the end of the day in regards to anything. Uh, I look around and I see there are things that I desire, a lot of things that I desire. And I'm trying not to operate solely off of my desire as of currently. I'm trying to operate off of what it is I need at this time. And it's gotten difficult. However, you know, finding a suitable source for myself to stay grounded and this constant forward movement mindset is not the easiest, especially when there's so much going on around. Going through this, I'm trying to figure out if it's worth it, if even these videos are worth it, if I'm just wasting my time, or if I'm doing something that might help, or if I'm just, you know, not, if I'm working in the right way. Like, this is what I'm trying to figure out, and this is what I am trying to, I guess, communicate to people. I have an extensive background in uh, showbiz, if I were to say so. I am a backstage worker. Normally, this is like the closest I've gone to putting myself in front of the camera, except for a couple photo shoots in the past. I'm not a big person to, put my face out there like that and talk to people about what it is that I'm going through, or the questions that I'm asking, or the things that may need to be heard. And I understand this may be a little bit of a long video and it can get a little boring. However, it's like constantly trying to communicate to people about what it is that's on my mind. And again, all of that stuff that you saw is the true me. Like, this is the truth coming from my mouth as of currently. This is me moving forward. This is me trying to communicate myself to whoever it's necessary and whoever will listen. Not everybody's going to like what I have to say, and I understand that completely. But if you are aiming to get people to like what you have to say, you'll never get anywhere in the world trying to please everybody, because, to be completely honest, I've learned that trying to please everybody will keep you at the bottom. Um, I am very concerned of if I'm doing anything, if I'm doing it wrong. Um, like, is am I doing any of this right? If I'm doing life correctly, if I'm moving in the right direction, and what is it I'm missing is one of the biggest questions that I've been asking. That is probably one of the biggest questions that I've asked for years, and that question still rings through. It still rings through, even as some of the questions change. That is one question that I will say I am stuck on. What is it I'm missing? What is it I'm looking past? Because I feel like I'm looking past a lot, and I'm not taking time to actually enjoy what's in front of me. You know, when I feel like I'm having fun. I feel like I'm having a good time moving forward, and it's a weird situation. I just don't understand myself just quite yet, and I'm approaching 31 years old and still have a whole bunch of questions that I need answered. And I feel like that's what life is. It's a whole bunch of shifting and growing, as well as asking a whole bunch of questions to move forward. Um, I'm just hoping this isn't where I'm stopping, because it feels like, even though I said I would only be in uh, such a space until the winter season ends, I feel like I'm getting too comfortable. And I feel like I should be making more of an effort to move forward than I have been, but I don't know what else to do at this point, because I feel like I've also done everything I can to move forward. Um, as stably as I possibly can. I know I am not. How do I explain this? I know I'm not in the best position to move forward and to do what it is exactly that I want to do, but I have been given the chance, the time, and the ability to do what I can in order to get to that position. And I have been given some resources as well as been granted a couple resources to make those things happen in my life, no matter how difficult it has been up until now. Because I'm not going to say this has been the easiest run. It definitely hasn't. Um, it has been a challenge, not only carrying the weight on my back that I have been carrying, but just releasing all of that I have been carrying. Because it's like not only I'm carrying a physical, like heavy weight. So, mind you, I'm carrying a very big bag with a lot of shit in it, and I don't have anything that's tempering that weight on my back. Uh, Matter of fact, I am also not only carrying a physical weight, I have been carrying a proverbial weight for a very long time, which I have been trying to figure out how to release, and I'm releasing it little by little. You know, those expectations, those things that, people want from me, and I'm going after what it is I want instead, right? It may sound odd to see a change. And the first word that came to my mind this morning when I finally sat down and was ready to get everything up and going was reconnection. Now, the question is, where am I supposed to be reconnecting myself? I am aware that going backwards may be a step to going forward. But I am also aware that going backwards may illuminate the truth of certain connections that I've had in the past. That is a fear of mine. However, I'm not afraid to illuminate the truth in regards to such things. I've never been afraid to illuminate the truth of any of this stuff as it comes to my life. I'm just trying to make sure that everything I'm doing is worth it. Uh, I still have no reason to talk openly about other people, especially not right now. Right now, my main focus is myself. And I may sound a bit conceited. However, I'd rather be conceited and be paying attention to myself than have myself diving into everybody else's life and be so caught up in drama and mess that I truly can't move forward because I'm so engrossed and so entertained by something I shouldn't be. Uh, and that's just personal to me. Like, that's just something I feel like most people need to understand. You should be focused on yourself because if you can't help yourself, you can't help anybody else. And that's where I'm at right now. If I can't help myself, I can't help nobody else. And it's something I must remember. It's something I must remember. Even if that means I lose connections, even if that means I lose people, as long as I'm able to keep myself at the end of the day, I'm okay with that. Also, a shout out to those people that have been helping me while I am currently staying out. This is definitely a time for me. I'm trying to work it the best way I can. At the end of the day, I'm not here to force you to do anything. I'm not here to force anybody to do anything. I am here to make it clear that no matter what you do, I'm going to continue to move forward, even if that means I kill myself in the process. It's been a long time coming that I moved forward. I have been in this state, in this city, in these areas since I've been alive. And I know it's hard to say. I haven't gone many places as an adult. Uh, when it comes to travel, I've been trying to work my ass off, save up as much money as I can, travel as far as I can with what resources I have, and what connections I had. And I've learned it's not as easy as you think to supplement your career choice, and your desires for travel, as well as your need to experience and travel to different places to make those connections you need in order to move your passions and everything you're working on forward. I'm not trying to be evil at the end of the day. I'm just trying to make it apparent to people that even though I may be going through it right now, it is definitely getting easier to handle because I am starting to see what it is taking for me to move forward. You know, I am actually pushing through the barriers that have been set before me, and regardless of who tries to stop me, you know, as long as I have a will, there is a way. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. I think it's time I let go of the animosity and the regret for sure. Um, and I have been moving forward again. I've been asking myself different questions. I've gone over a couple of the different questions that I've been asking, um, as well as how have the experiences of my past affected how I move today, uh, and what is it going to cost for me to regain the life that I want to live, because I sacrificed a lot just to be able to move forward. I really did. Uh, I sacrificed my old life. I sacrificed people, places, things, and ways of being in order to cultivate and build a new space, a new atmosphere, and even a new team, which I still haven't finished building yet because I have not been all the places that I'm going to be at. This is going to take me a couple years, so this is the start of the journey, and you guys are joining me on the journey as I move forward. So I really hope that y'all enjoy hearing what I have to say, and these are, on top of everything, my testimonies of survival, um, through the hardest parts of life. And right now, this is where I'm going through it alone because I realized where it was I was and what I was dealing with just in order to maintain comfort. When in reality, growth cannot be done in comfort, growth can only be done in uncomfortability. And that's all I've got for you today, guys. If you have a question, comment, or concern, go ahead and drop those in the description box below. Also, go ahead and drop me a like and share the video if you enjoyed this content. I will be back as soon as I possibly can with more content. Right now, I am still moving through the cold season, and I hope you guys can bear with me as we make our way into the future with everything that we're working on. Now, uh, I'll be back on here as soon as I possibly can. This is just one video, and then we'll go ahead and move forward as time goes on. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Alrighty, guys. D out.